This episode is sponsored by Agent CRM. If you're in sales and tired of paying 3, 4, or 5 different companies for your email, CRM, funnels, phone, follow-up automation, check out Agent CRM. It's an all-in-one tool that combines all that you need to reach out, nurture, and close your clients. They've got weekly support calls so you can get up and running in no time. Get a free 14-day trial by going to the link below in the show notes. Hey everyone, this is Dan with the Intentional Entrepreneur Podcast. I have Mike Alder with us today, senior trial attorney at Alder Law, leading LA firm that represents plaintiffs in personal injury and employment litigation cases. He's known as one of the top trial attorneys in California and an advocate for underdog clients and a generous supporter of fellow trial attorneys, charitable causes, and community philanthropy. I do want to welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. I always have other attorneys on here because not only are they attorneys, but very successful business owners in their own right. Today, we want to talk about falling down and getting back up, which over your almost 30 years of litigation and as a business owner, I'm sure you have lots of stories and lots of experience. But before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, can you share a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. Let's see. I grew up in the South in a 700-person town, son of a teacher and a preacher, and went to undergrad and law school at Louisiana State, LSU, and clerked for the Mississippi Supreme Court on my way out to California. Got married, first wife at 19, and didn't have any clue what I wanted to do. Didn't even know a lawyer, didn't know about law school, but she did. And she was like, I'm going to move from Louisiana to LA and be an entertainment lawyer. And I'm like, oh, all right. Long story short, not really knowing what kind of law I wanted to practice. When I was clerking on the Supreme Court of Mississippi, one of the justices was a trial lawyer, a plaintiff's lawyer, and he was cool, right? Just like all us plaintiff's lawyers are cool. He took the clerks to his chambers. We had drinks, and he would tell stories of helping the underdog and slaying dragons and taking on the privileged against the underprivileged. And I fell in love. I mean, I literally was like, this is what I want to do with my life. And he helped me find a job in Los Angeles. Again, I didn't know anybody. Speaking of falling down, I had 8 interviews. I was 0 for 7 and went into my 8th interview and got a job. Long story short, it worked for him. He folded his firm as he was an older, close to retirement. But that job got me the next job with my real mentor, who had mentored quite a few really excellent trial lawyers here in LA. And then 24 years ago, I opened my own firm, and here I am 24 years later.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations on all your success so far.
And I'm a dad joke teller. See my.
All right. Good thing that thing doesn't move, because then that punchline is not going to ever drop.
Here's a good dad joke. I'm going to watch this in high definition. It's going to be my New Year's resolution. Come on now.
No comment. Going 0 for 7, especially coming out to LA. I'm sure you're probably, you're clerking, so you're probably not just far out of law school, coming to a new city. What was it like, after that 7th one? Let me ask you about that 7th one. After the 7th one having been turned down, what was it like?
Well, I had a benefit. I didn't have any other options. And that's something that I've learned over time. Back then, I really didn't know it. I didn't understand it. But when you don't have any options and the only way you can go is in one direction, it doesn't matter how many times you hit the wall going the other direction. At some point, you find the right way. And that's what happened with me. If I had that same situation, and I could have
Mhm.
stayed in Louisiana. I could have gone somewhere else. You know, a lot of people give up on their plans and their dreams um, if they have supposed other options. So one of the things I've learned, and I mean, I didn't really think about it this way till just now, is what that taught me is, don't give yourself an out. And
Mm.
to me, that out for most of us, from getting in the cold plunge this morning to leaving and not, finding a job somewhere else and everywhere in between, is simply the self talk that we tell ourselves to justify and convince us to not do something or to do something different, right?
Mm.
So, oh, I'm 0
Mm.
for 7. I would have had that conversation when I was 0 for 2, right?
Mhm.
By 4, if I'm allowing myself talk, I'm like, man, this isn't worth it. Why? I'm a loser. I've now made myself, I've identified myself as a loser. Why do I want to embarrass myself? That, there's no good jobs
Mhm.
anyway. Seventh,
Mhm.
eighth down the list is not going to be worth it. All of the things that we all tell us ourselves in
Mhm.
every single thing that we talk ourselves out of.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's a
Mhm.
learned skill, right? That's an
Yeah.
experience and a learned skill that I'm always learning. Hell, I was in
Yeah.
my pool this morning, 47 degrees for 5.5 minutes, and I caught myself this morning. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I
Mhm.
caught myself talking to myself. I've already done it, 3 times this week. I'm fine. Maybe when it's light, talking, just talking.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I have enough experience now to catch it. And once I
Mhm.
catch it, I'm like, stop talking to yourself, and then blank my mind out by the time I'm in the pool. Once I'm in the pool, then 5 short minutes later, I've done the thing that I have told myself I can't do, I don't need to do, I shouldn't do, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. You mentioned, this self-talk is a learned skill and partly from experience. Would you say, maybe not particular with regards to the cold plunge or whatever you were handling this morning, but has some of that experience had come from wisdom from maybe your mentors or other people that you've looked up to? So not necessarily from your particular experience of falling down, but also wisdom from other people.
I learned some things from my mentors. I
Mhm.
learned some things from my parents. As I say, my parents get smarter every year I get older, right? Um, but that willpower, fortitude, I learned myself. I
Mhm.
read. I hit rock bottom.
Mm.
I made severe changes in my life, choices that were extremely painful and extremely necessary, and I survived. And
Mhm.
through my reading, through basically paying attention to this, um, I understand there's a part of my brain, like all of us,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
grows when I put myself in uncomfortable, difficult, taxing, challenging situations. And that is a
Mhm.
direct result. The size of that brain part is a direct result of my future willpower. And
Yeah.
so I know that if I want to have that fortitude in the future, I have to constantly I have to constantly challenge and stress and suffer. So, I've been in the cold plunge. I've taken cold showers now for a couple of years. Um, Now it's particularly cold here in Southern California, relatively. And so I'm in, and I've been doing it every day for the last week or so. I'm up to 5.5, 6 minutes. But
Mhm.
somebody's like, well, if you clench your fists, it's easier. And I've realized that I don't want to make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
Once it becomes easier, then I got to do something harder, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when I'm like saying, "Oh, this is a great thing. I'm really looking forward to that cold plunge," I got to change it up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And that's just kind of everything with life. And what a blessing, because most people don't do that. Most people won't be uncomfortable, certainly not for long periods of time. Most people won't step outside their comfort zone consistently. Everybody does it if your back's against the wall, but do you do it on a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
consistent basis?
Yeah.
95% of people don't. And the 5% that do just go, whoosh, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is why
Would
every time I see one of my law students or anybody on social media or anybody who reaches out, when I say, hey, execute, reach out, take me up on it, write me a note, do something special, bring donuts to my staff, and they do it. Let's set up a meeting. I want to know you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to introduce you to other people because I want to be around those people. And so do you want to be around me because,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're a rare breed. And that's not to say that we're special.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that most people don't do it. That's the only thing that makes us special.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Would you say as you've gotten wiser, you now actively seek uncomfortable situations or situations that will challenge you?
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've gotten wiser. Maybe I've gotten more experienced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't use negative language, right? I don't say
Mm.
anymore and I know people are like looking at me, and if you're watching this, you're like, you sound like a big pile of platitudes, whatever, right? Whatever. I've had that, right? Oh, people are listening. People are paying you to say execute and stay outside your comfort zone. That's who doesn't know that. I'm like, it's not about whether you know it; it's about whether you do it. And if you don't do it, then you need to hear it as many times as it takes until you do it. So I ain't saying nothing different than Marcus Aurelius, Tony
Mm-hmm.
Robbins, Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar.
Mm-hmm.
We all say the same damn
Mm-hmm.
thing. The
Mm-hmm.
point is whoever you hear it from that makes you do it that's golden, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so positive language is I'm not older and there's younger. I'm more experienced and they're less experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's I've become wiser and there's maybe less wiser, but see, I don't think that. So I just say with my experience, I've seen the trial and error and I know what works. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that the way I do anything is the way I
Mm-hmm.
do everything. And if I cheat, then I cheat later.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't
Mm-hmm.
cheat, then I don't cheat later. And what
Mm-hmm.
matters is me not cheating over a long period of time,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Right.
And
Right.
I'll shut up after this, but the thing that I teach a class at Loyola Law School, and I remember at the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
this last semester, and I teach like advanced litigation strategy and tools and whatever. Um, it's fun. I teach law and life, and so
Mm-hmm.
the law students said, what do I need to do to become a great trial lawyer, become a great lawyer? I said, that's easy. Make your bed and take a cold shower every morning.
Mm-hmm.
What? What does making my bed have to do with anything? What does taking a cold shower have to do with being a good lawyer? I said, because your first instinct is, I'm not going to do that. And you learning to not want to do it and do it anyway is the single biggest factor in you becoming successful in whatever you want to do in any business, not just law.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to fight me so hard and not make your bed and come up with all the reasons why, well, nobody's going to see it. It doesn't make me sleep better or worse, et cetera, et cetera. Cold shower, I'm young, I don't need it. I'm healthy anyway. I'm a night person, I'm a warm person. That your ability to talk yourself out of doing things that are uncomfortable is your
Mhm.
single greatest fault in trying to become successful. And the
Mhm.
converse is true.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you're not willing to do these basic little things, how the hell do I think you're going to be a kick-ass trial lawyer that's going to take those things over and over and over, magnitude over and over to get to where you want to be? Don't think that
Mhm.
anybody who you look up to hasn't been through that. Don't even think that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends shared with me this saying. It makes total sense as I get older too, as or more experiences. How you
Nice.
do anything is how you do everything.
Exactly. And see, I love the fact that you just caught your language. See, and
Yeah.
it's all about exposure. It's all about you just repeat it until it becomes easier and more routine and more habitual so that you then don't do it
Hmm.
anymore. So you use less willpower and brain power so you can use that brain power to go do something else. Now you become more
Hmm.
efficient. Now you become,
Yeah.
you know, more productive.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of what we've talked about so far really stems from the self-talk and self-image and self-language. And you probably have hundreds of trials underneath your belt at this point of your career. But can you take me back to the first trial that you lost and how you rebounded from something like
This
that?
is my first one, and my second one,
Hmm.
and my fourth one, and my sixth one,
Yeah.
and my seventh, and my eighth, right?
Hmm.
Until now, granted, probably at that time, the quality of the cases I was trying were the hand me downs, whatever, but still, I lost them and I took them hard. Um, and so I'm sorry, I forget your question in that context. What was the
Yeah.
question?
Eh, Yeah. Um, so like I can I give an example? Like I have a friend who he shared with me. He did a trial and he took it so hard, and it I don't think that particular one like single handedly pushed him out of practicing law, but it didn't help him either, right? So I guess my question is like for you, how did you kind of overcome, right? Because losing's never fun, right? How do you kind of overcome that first, second, third, fourth, sixth loss that in terms of your trial, and then just moving on to the next one and kind of resetting yourself?
Well, first of all, it is a very difficult thing, and that's fine. And so, first thing I do is I change my perspective. And if anybody is
Mm,
looking at it, if you've lost a trial, and you're looking at it this way, like I have certainly in the past, I'm a loser. They didn't listen to me. I'm embarrassed. I hope nobody else sees this. I'm going to lose my practice. I don't ever want to feel this way again. Or screw those jurors. That judge screwed me,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Now, you can feel all of that, but you can also own it, right?
mm,
Whatever
mhm,
I did didn't work, right?
mhm, mhm,
Whether it was random chance of who walked in the door as jurors or not, I need to be responsible and own this. And while I think I did a very good job, I can always improve. And what an opportunity for me to have a practice where I
mm,
can learn. And you know what? Who am I to feel like I'm a loser when the more important person who lost was my client? So
mm,
wait a minute. I'm going to move on and live another day. This was my client's one and only shot. So get off your high horse and get your ass back in and work, because it's a lot worse on other people than me. I'm grateful that
mhm,
I can walk away from something like this with experience and it not kill my practice, not destroy my
mhm,
life. But
mhm,
what a blessing it is to have opportunities to learn. maybe I now have an opportunity to have some level of experience to call Mike,
Mm-hmm.
who said I should call him and run through this with me, and who would be able to put things into context and maybe avoid some of these in the future. And now I have a
Mm-hmm.
level of experience that I can do that from. What a
Mm-hmm.
blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, but that requires me to reach out to Mike. Oh, wait, that means I got to tell him I'm a loser. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That, you see how all of that focuses on how we're talking to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And failure for most people is an identity. I
Mm.
have changed it into an event.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife Gina and I, Gina's a very empowered with Gina, very go getter. She primarily for women, but for everybody is just a wonderful motivator and speaker. And you know, I know as weird as this sounds, I'm like, babe, how'd today go? And I'm like, I failed like 7 times. It's great. And people are like,
Yeah.
oh, so you're setting up to fail. I'm like, no, the successes take care of themselves. I didn't say I
Mm-hmm.
failed 7 out of 7 times. I just said I failed seven
Mm.
times, right?
Yeah.
And being okay with that because those are events and looking at us failure as me being active and engaged and proactive
Mm-hmm.
is a hell of a lot better than I failed 7 times and I'm a loser and I'm going to give up on life and I'm going to quit and I'm going to move back in with my parents and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember one of my marketing mentors, he said, "Hey, there are no failures, only lessons."
Yeah,
And there's a story about Thomas Edison. He didn't fail, whatever 163 times. He just figured out there's 163 ways not to create a light bulb.
right.
I think that's the particular
But
story.
but let me say this: I certainly own and feel my failures. Right
Mm,
when you stand in front of a jury and you
mm,
are putting it all in, and they're all looking at you, and you're like, I'm connecting, and I'm about to, and they literally kick you in the you know what and say, I have not listened to a damn thing you've said. That's a
mm-hmm,
bitter pill,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And as I tell all lawyers, I mean, your ability to stand up to the next jury and expose yourself and be willing to be kicked again in the you know what's, that's a difficult thing, but owning it and being
mm,
responsible for
mm,
it and not blaming
mm-hmm.
makes it a lot more likely that you're going to get up again, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
understand that the same thing is going on with your opponent. The same thing is going on in your business with the person who's trying to beat you in marketing or buy it from under you or whatever. They have
Mm-hmm,
the same issues as well. And your ability to persevere and get back up and do it again, if you do it more and more successfully than the other side, you may lose the battle, but you're going to win the war.
mm, mm-hmm, mm. I one thing someone told me that I've really kind of taken to heart for a very long time is whatever circumstances you're in, if it's particularly trying, it may not be your fault, but it's your
Yeah,
responsibility.
that's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody says, the Germans didn't say, hey, I won the battle of da da da. They,
Mm-hmm.
the Americans say we won the war. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
way it is with really anything. And I talk about that when I'm live streaming, when I'm in a trial, and I just put it out there, right? When I lose or
Mm-hmm.
win a trial, everybody knows because I've been good, bad, and ugly throughout the whole trial. And it's surprising how many people have commented on how refreshing that is. They're like, "Aren't you terrified that you're going to show people that you're trying to win and then you lose and you're going to look like a loser?" And I'm like, "Yeah. If I let that stop me, that's exactly the opposite of what I'm preaching,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's there's lots of challenges to be had as a litigator and a trial attorney. And you mentioned you have a wife, especially as someone in your practice area. How do you balance, your family and your work?
So we have 6 kids between us, 18 to 6 months, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And I acknowledge my mistakes as well with my 2 older kids, with my first
Mm-hmm.
wife. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I mean, I've taken full responsibility for this. I was more interested in my work than I was with my kids for far too long, and you know, I'm ashamed of that, and I feel terrible about it, and I'm trying to make up for it. But I've learned, and I'm not making that mistake with my younger kids, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here's an example. And if my kids watch this, they know I've owned it and I've apologized and I'm back on it. But here's the example. I was very, I've got a full day today. I woke up at 4, like I do all the time, took that cold plunge, and but I've got a full day. But I have said, unless it's something I cannot get out of, I'm going to take the kids to school. And my wife
Mm-hmm.
and I took the kids
Mm-hmm.
to school. Now, did we have groundbreaking discussions? Did they, tell me this morning that thing that bonded us together forever and ever? No. Today was we listened to Michael Jackson and, whatever. But I'll never get that time back. And it is exactly what I want to show as my priorities, not only
Mm-hmm.
to them, but to me. And so, how do you balance it? You make time for it. You don't negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't watch TV all night. You turn off the TV and you schedule time with your kids. You take them to school. You don't always have an excuse, right? If you do
Yeah.
something, you include them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's as simple as that, but we all have time. I mean, look, I know I sound like a self-help life coach, and I actually help a lot of people do this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what's on my social media and on my YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as law. But 168 hours in a week,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you sleep 8 hours a day for 7 days, and you work 5 hours, 8 hours for 5 days a week, after you've had a absolute full night's sleep and a full workday, on average, you have another 9.5 hours of a day. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do with 9.5 hours? Well, don't tell me you don't have enough time. You just slept
Mm-hmm.
and you just worked. Okay, depending on where you live, here's an hour and a half of a commute. Now you got 8 hours. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
here's an hour and a half of eating. Okay, now you got 6.5 hours left.
Mm-hmm.
You can't spare an hour for your family?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but my Starbucks. Yeah, but my TV. Yeah, but my social
Yeah.
media. And what it does for me when I paid attention to that, and I help people pay attention to it, is they go, God, I now see where I'm just like, I'm wasting my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored. Well, how about you create a list that you go to when you say, well, I'm bored. Let me go to that list and see. I have a list that really reminds me of all the stuff that I want to do when I'm
Mm-hmm.
bored. And one of it is, where are the kids? Are you learning, your Duolingo Spanish? Hey, how about writing in a journal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
spending time on social media? Maybe you want to stop that. Are you hydrated? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you can get in a quick workout. How about you go outside in the sun, play the piano, do all these things that we all do, like, right? Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then not don't have time to do anything. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah. I that's one of the things I'm more conscious about too. So we have a 8-month-old, and but my older kids, they're at the stage where you kind of drive them to all these activities, right? And so I cut into my kind of my 9 to 5 work day. And so on my schedule, it is take the kids to wherever they're, need to go. What advice would you give to maybe the new attorney that's just opened their practice, or the new business owner that just started?
Mhm.
They have a young family. So it's like the dilemma for them is, hey, if I don't put in the time now,
Mhm.
or I put the time, I may not able to put food on the table next week.
Okay. So let's take that 8 hours of work and let's make it seven instead of 7 days a week instead of 5 days a week. So now you've
Mhm.
slept and now you've worked 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. So now instead of 40-hour week, you've done 56 hours. Okay. Now you still have 7 hours left every day.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
Let's take let's take an hour away. So now you have 6 hours and you work 9 hours a day, 7 days a week. If that's not enough, let me tell you that you're counterproductive, right? You
mm,
do not
mm,
work more than 9 hours a day, 7 days a week efficiently. You just don't.
mm, mhm,
And I got to
mhm,
tell you, if you want to work 9 hours, you need to take 9 breaks in those 9 hours to be more efficient. In any one
mhm,
of those
mhm.
breaks, you can spend time with your kids, right? You can make it into a
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Mhm,
Daddy's going
mhm,
to work for 45 minutes, and then for 15 minutes, we get to do whatever you want.
mhm, mhm.
You do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
twice in a day. That's 30 minutes with you have with your kids, right? And then
Mhm,
with your significant other, or, I mean, again, I get it. I do. But it's all doable. It's just,
mhm,
yeah, but you don't understand. I've always got something more to do, and something that I've really struggled with, written
mhm,
about in my journal and dealt with is it okay for me to stop thinking about work,
mm,
right? Is
mhm,
it
mhm,
okay to stop working for a time for a day and but still have work to do?
mhm, mhm,
And my experience has told me that what a blessing I have that I will always have more work than I can do. What a blessing,
mm,
right? And so no
mhm,
matter where I
mhm.
stop, I haven't done it all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So saying to myself, well, I'm going to be miserable if I stop and I have more work to do. And I always have more work to do. Well, I just set myself up to be miserable all the time. And so that really took a lot for me, right? Oh,
Mhm,
maybe
mm.
I'm falling behind. Maybe I'm not working, I don't have the Kobe Mamba mentality,
Yeah.
right? But you know what I remember about Kobe is what a great dad he was. What a right
Mhm,
as wonderful a worker as Kobe was, he defined and carved out time for his family. And does
mhm.
anybody who sees any of that and not think that Kobe was that his family felt blessed to have time with him? No, I mean you
Yeah.
see it,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
so it's doable
Yeah,
for all of us. And that's not to
yeah.
shame people who say they who are not doing it.
Mhm,
It's a function of trial and error of taking the time and
mhm, mhm.
journaling, thinking, cutting yourself enough slack that you know what at 4 o'clock today, my mother-in-law is coming over and we have an early dinner. At 4 o'clock, I'm not going to be done with all the stuff I got to do. It's not going to happen. But I do know that I've trained myself that at 4 o'clock I'm shutting my head off for anything, and at least until 6, I'm in with my mother-in-law, my family, my father-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna enjoy that, and I'm not gonna feel guilty, and I'm not gonna try to
Mm,
do two things and do this and sneak on my phone and do whatever. But at 6 o'clock, I'll pick it up again, or at 6:30. And you know what? If I'm going to go to bed at 8 because I get up at 4 and I want 8 hours, I'm going to shut down at 8 and I'm going to be okay
mm-hmm.
to crank it up at 4. That takes practice, man. That just takes,
Yeah.
right? That just takes mental fortitude. Oh, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
cold plunges help me do that.
Mm,
Making my
mm,
own bed helps me
yeah.
do that. Because as you said, how I do anything is how I do everything. And discipline here means I'm disciplined there, and vice versa. And so it's all related. But it's not, never perfect, and it's never done, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's always a work in progress. And you always take, two steps forward and one step back. And most of the days, at the end of the day, I'm lamenting all the things I screwed up. And then
Right.
somebody
Right.
sees you after 2 months and they're like, dude, you've been kicking ass. What are you doing? And you're like, really? I kind of thought I was,
Yeah.
and it's just because you're consistent.
Right. Right. You talk about 168 hours in a week, and how well or not well we use them. I remember this particular exercise is like, hey, if you wrote down every single thing that you did for a day, what would it show you? And for doing it the first time, I was surprised how much time I
Yeah,
wasted.
we all are.
Huh.
It's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I realize one of the
So.
things is how much time I'm at the office making myself coffee, right? We have an
Mm-hmm.
espresso machine and I heat the water and I put whatever in and whatever. Now, there's certain times where I like doing that at a break, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I would do that before I would start working. And then
Mm-hmm.
I read a book of, Dan Martell about buy back your time. And he's
Mm,
like, look, in his, don't think yourself that you're all that in a bag of chips.
mm,
But if somebody in your office that gets paid at a lot less rate than your hourly rate as the owner of the firm can make you your coffee, have them do it and thank them and be thankful and grateful, which I am. But don't
mm-hmm.
spend
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes making coffee at $2,000 an hour.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
then they make it and I'm grateful and I thank them and then they bring it to me in a dad joke loading, you know.
Hey, we're here with Mike Alder, senior trial attorney at Alder Law. Thank you so much for sharing. We're gonna kind of wind it down here with the rapid fire
Sure.
questions, but I do want to just convey my appreciation for being vulnerable, because I think not a lot of people kind of talk about the personal struggles that we've always kind of gone through, and learning from the mistakes, as you said, with the children. So I do want to appreciate my heartfelt gratitude for sharing that part of your life with
Happy
us.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If anybody
So
hasn't made mistakes in their life, call me so that you can tell me that happens. 'Cause, I mean,
tell me too,
yeah,
because
right.
that might be the secret.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
The phone
yeah.
ain't ringing off
Um,
the hook. That's for damn sure.
All right. Hey, so we've got the rapid fire portion here. So just answer the first thing that pops in your head.
Sure.
All right. All right. Who do you look up to?
My dad.
No. All right. What's the best business advice you've ever received?
Earn money in a way that is tax protected.
Mm, okay. What is your favorite business book?
David Allen, I forget the exact name, but How to Organize Things.
Yeah, Getting Things
Getting
Done
things done.
is, well, that's his most popular book, I would say. All right. If you can do one thing over again, what would it be?
One more time.
If you could do one thing over again, what would it be?
I'd be in the military.
Mm, all right. You lose everything in your business. The only thing you have is your laptop, cell phone, and an internet connection. How do you rebuild your business in 30 days?
I'll be honest with all the people that I've had connections with as to what I did wrong, ask for help, and start
Mm.
again.
All right. What's the best thing you spent $100 or less on that has greatly improved your personal life or your business life?
Holy moly! Journal.
Journal. All right. Are you familiar with the term 3 feet from gold?
No.
Okay, so it's the story goes: there's a prospector buys a piece of land, buys all the equipment, and digs, doesn't hit anything, sells it to the next guy, and that guy only digs 3 feet before he hits a vein of gold. So, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a trial attorney, how do you know when you might be 3 feet from gold, and how do you know when you need to pivot?
Well, that's the rub, isn't it? As I say, in Life and Law, Kenny Rogers, the gambler, had the best life and law advice ever. Know when to hold them and know when to fold
No,
them. And we spend a lot of time being pot committed, right? I'm going to dig 20 feet
mm-hmm,
because maybe 21 feet, 23 feet, there's the next, the next, the next. That happens sometimes, right?
mm-hmm,
But sometimes you got to be able to acknowledge that you took the wrong door, you went the wrong path,
mm-hmm.
and um, and fold.
All right. And what is the biggest challenge in your business today?
Billboard advertisers for me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Money
Yep.
that
Yep.
that
Yep.
allows people to misrepresent, right?
Mm,
The
mm,
the
mm,
commercials that say things that the ordinary consumer would have no idea that is right or wrong, that I know as
mm-hmm.
is just false. But
All
you
right.
know,
Right.
ad politics, ad this, ad, whatever, it's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Hey, thanks again, Mike, for hanging out with. If someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way?
I'm gonna give my cell number, my email,
Okay.
and my social media because I know 95% of people probably won't follow up. I hope you do, but it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. 310-710-3345. Email is cmalder@alderlaw.com. My YouTube channel is Alder Talk, and my Instagram is mike.alder, ALDER. Reach out. I'm happy to help you with anything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your generosity. We'll put all those in the show notes. Hopefully, someone's listening and can take you up on your offer. And hope again we can talk again soon.
Dynamite. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.